right, everybody. How are you doing? We're here. We made it to the brand new, once again, Multimodal Media Lab. Give a hand to the new venue and to Multimodal for having us tonight. Thank you so much. We are the BC+AI Film Club. We're part of the BC+AI ecosystem, which is a community movement to have a human-centric presence in AI. And we've got these clear LED screens here for us to enjoy as well. So we're very grateful for that. Before we get moving, I'd like to invite Mayumi up for our land acknowledgement. So come on up, Mayumi.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Hello. I'm so happy to see all of you here. Thank you so much for coming. And you know what? I'm going to say this. This gathering here has been so good for my heart because it really shows that we're all interested in learning and creating community. And I'm so grateful that we can do it here on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh nations. There's a picture of me behind me, and I didn't notice that. And I'm eternally grateful for all of you to give up an evening. I know we go late, and I hope that the space that we provide here will make it comfortable enough for you to feel like you can share your stories with us here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayumi. I'll grab that from you. Thank you. My name is Kevin Friel. I am also known as the Pixel Wizard for some of those who may be familiar with me before. I've been really going through the gamut of 25 years in film and video, now very much in the AI generative space. And it's a pretty amazing time. I say this every single month, both at the BC+AI ecosystem events and at the film events. We really are at a pretty incredible time right now. So last month, we talked about something big is happening. We introduced the orchestration age, which is agentic frameworks in coding, and they're fastly going to encroach over to video and film work. We said AI was building itself. We said the water was rising. So about that, 4 weeks later, we got new foundational models. AI burnout became a medical term, and the world, you've been doom scrolling, right? It's a little weird out there. You know, what are we looking at here? So, we talked about the something is happening. Well, that escalated quickly, didn't it? 4 weeks later, LTX2 shipped a full version upgrade and a desktop editor. Martini.film launched a filmmakers Figma. Luma shipped actual AI agents, getting into the weeds of it. LTX 2.3 came out. It has a vast new array of features and capabilities. Image to video reworked, which is pretty amazing. Cleaner native audio. Vertical formats are a new one in LTX 2.3. So I know there's a bit of curiosity about the potential for generative work inside of the vertical format, which is very much a hot and emerging trend. LTX also came up with a native desktop editor, which allows you to basically generate inside of a timeline. It's a very native format. It's not quite as robust as using it through like Comfy UI or something like that. But in terms of really working inside of the edit and getting your generations inside, with that model and a one-for-one communication with it, it's a real paradigm shift in how you work instead of trying to go across, 10 or 15 different models now, pulling those shots in as your generative camera negatives and working with those inside of your editor of choice, whether that's Resolve, Premiere, CapCut, or even Avid is still a thing. So, Martini.film is really interesting. Go have a look at this. And if you're connected with me on LinkedIn, please reach out to me. There's a special code that has early access and some free credits to it. And it's basically like a mood board style interface, an infinite mood board style interface, very kind of like Figma-esque is what people are calling it, where you can generate characters, you can have camera control, you can create whole universes. There's like Gaussian splats that you can use to have like environment consistency, so you can pan around in the same room without having to do like references in a lot of the recent models that we've had. So, and then Luma agents and boards also came on board on a similar paradigm, using the legacy of the Luma engine, which is very robust and one of the few, if not the only, commercial models that lets you have that Hollywood grade output, and using 16-bit EXRs, having passes for your elements as well. So this whole platform has become a very robust way to create your universe if you're used to the Luma platform. So that escalated quickly. Right? We talked about the possibility for agentic frameworks inside of video, and look at all of these ones that just came out, right? It's a pretty amazing time. So yeah, that's it. We've got all these things that have come out of nowhere. So another aspect of trying to keep up with all of this, as I'm sure some of you that have been keeping up with things, is this new study of AI burnout. And it's this notion that we're all sort of orchestrating these things at a very rapid pace. We're on top of like decision trees and contingencies that have never been approached by one singular human, rarely before, and we're doing that en masse. And it's creating this like cognitive load, real sort of hitting our thresholds. The first signs of burnout are coming from the people who embrace AI the most. And I know I've been testing myself to like look at that burnout threshold, and I'm really trying to keep a balance on that in probably the busiest month of my career that I've had so far, and that's saying something. I've had some busy months, but I've talked to a lot of folks in generative film and coding, and they're all feeling similar paradoxes. It's like I'm responsible for so many things now, and it's really becoming sort of a fever pitch. AI brain fry is the term that you're probably going to start seeing pop up around the social ecosphere. 45% higher burnout rate among frequent AI users. That's in an APA study. Productivity rises with 1 to 3 AI tools. At 4+, it plummets. Is what this study is seeing. Workers describe it as fog and buzzing. 1 in 7 report mental fatigue. Imagine that paradigm and something that's like, it's supposed to, and it does in many ways, create freedom, create time. But now we're seeing the scope of the work that, that we had before becoming so much more on many individuals. We're really at this ground where we're testing our limits. AI doesn't reduce work, it intensifies it. I see a lot of nodding heads in here, right? We're really at a new time. And also, oh my God, the world at the same time, right? We're consuming just what is happening in the world, and we're taking even bigger responsibilities of what we're up to. That escalated quickly, right? It's a pretty brilliant time. So, here's the thing. I love Claude for making these slides for me earlier this afternoon. It did a brilliant job. We're in a room full of people who love AI, right? Like we're all here, we're all kind of dipping our toes very early on. We're seeing what the potential is. We're seeing what the tools can do emerging week after week, day after day, sometimes hour after hour at this point of innovation. Who are excited about it, who showed up on a weeknight because we believe in it, probably mostly as individuals, right? And the research says we're the ones most at risk of burning out from it if we take that load purely as individuals. So if the answer isn't less AI and it isn't more AI, then maybe it's different AI. Maybe it's about who it's for, how we use it, and what kind of spaces we build around it. Which brings me to punk rock. I'm a real champion of punk rock. I came from the punk rock school of DIY. I had a band in the late 90s and early 2000s. We ran our own shows. We made our own recordings out of, duct tape and, whichever cassette players that we had. We hustled our CDs into record stores when we were able to actually afford them. We ran our own shows. We made our own audiences. We all learned web development so that we could have a website and get people to hear about it beyond just paper, pamphlets. This was big at the time. DIY or die. What punk rock figured out 50 years ago that Silicon Valley still kind of hasn't. Not the corporate parts. The underground parts are still very much there, but I think it's not quite there yet. 3 chords and the truth, no gatekeepers, make the thing. The venues were small. The community was everything. Does that sound familiar?
Punk's not dead.
Preach on, brother. You've got it. AI is the punk rock of coding. This is from Rick Rubin. Empowering ideas over technique, just as punk rock allowed anyone with 3 chords and something to say to make music. Replace coding with filmmaking? Right? We're kind of there, right? We're really on the precipice of this. The venues that changed music. Punk venues were the first spaces where LGBTQ plus artists, working class voices, and political dissidents could be heard when mainstream platforms rejected them. These weren't just clubs, they were incubators. $1 on a ticket equals $12 in local economic impact. $135 billion total output from indie venues in 2024. And we hear about how streaming has been a real challenge for music, and the numbers from streaming alone are absolutely abysmal. It's micro pennies on each stream. You have to have 1 million streams to get $4,000 US out of it. That's crazy. However, the opportunity that has started is exposure. It's creating micro niches. It's cultivating audiences. It's cultivating your own community through these platforms. It's a very kind of punk rock way to treat these paradigms, right? You use this big platform to get your audience. And I lean on this a lot. I saw the nerdiest prog funk band you could imagine at the Commodore, Snarky Puppy. The lineup was around the block. People were passing by and they were just who's playing? Why is the Commodore 3 times sold out? It's a Snarky Puppy. They're I think I've heard of Skinny Puppy. Is that the same thing? Who is Snarky Puppy? Why is the puppy so aggressive? I don't understand. But they cultivated a micro niche online that was undeniable through beautiful content, through touring experiences where they had, Atmos mixed headphones in everyone in the audience. They got this incredible sensory experience with the players in the room. It was kind of being, as you are all sitting down right now, seeing this incredible, immaculate recording experience. And then they published that online and gained even more fandom through that. So, with those kind of ideals, I really love how music keeps seeing the problems and solves them in their own way and still evolving, but they've been through the gamut of a lot of these problems first, and we can glean a lot from that. So we can take that spirit and, whose stories get told. AI lowered the barrier, but who's walking through the door? AI video tools drop filmmaking costs by 60 to 80%. And I say that's sort of somewhere between a middle and a conservative average. One person can do what took dozens. LGBTQ plus creators, indigenous filmmakers, creators of color, people locked out of production budgets now have the tools. Look at the Nigerian AI film scene. It is amazing. They're doing the coolest real representational sci-fi like Afro Futurism I have ever seen. Go look it up. Kill Netflix for a night. Watch that. You're going to leave smiling. It's awesome. I love it. And this is the kind of, the opportunities that these tools have, but there's also a threat to that. The models carry bias. Training data skews mainstream. Representation at decision-making levels is thin. The tools are necessary, but not sufficient. You also need spaces, community, curation, and intent. And that's the whole enchilada of using these AI tools. It's all of those pieces put together. And, I've spoken a few times about how, there's a lot of lone wolf syndrome in AI filmmaking right now. And I think it's really time to get more rooms like this happening, where we get to see each other, say, like, hey, that short you made, that test you did in Kling 3 was really freaking cool. Like, what were your influences from that? And like cross-pollinate and jam with each other. I think that's a really exciting opportunity. So that's the theme of tonight. All of this is happening. How do we move forward as a community? Tonight's voices, we've got people here who are living this intersection. We're going to hear from creators working at the edges, people using these tools to tell stories the traditional pipeline would never greenlight. Voices from communities historically excluded from film, from the production pipeline, from distribution, from the conversation. I've anecdotally heard about, so many folks in the past couple of weeks in particular, and it's really informed, why I'm really passionate about this tonight. It's something I felt for a long time, and I'm just like, man, we got to do something about this. I've heard about voices that don't have the markers of privilege, have all sorts of doors be shut down. Why? It doesn't need to happen. And we can start creating a movement in rooms like this, and that's why I'm really excited that you're all here tonight. Are you with me, folks? Super cool. If AI film is going to mean something, it's going to be more than a tech demo reel. It needs what punk rock had: a scene, a community, venues, curation with a conscience, an economy that isn't controlled by the platforms. And that seems a weird notion when most of the tools that we're using is like, Google and Luma and, the Chinese vendors, Kling, ByteDance. These are all large initiatives. And fair enough, it's very expensive to train up a foundational model that's worth its salt. But the open source piece is really exciting. You can, if you've got compute, there's still privilege in that. But if you've got compute, you can do things with just your electricity costs and your time. And if you work at it long enough, it can hold up to the commercial models. LTX2 is open source even, so you can download that and run it on your own hardware if you've got enough juice and a little bit of technical know-how. And that's where community really comes in too, because if you don't have that, there's someone in this room, and probably like 70 of the 100 people in this room know a little bit about that. And that's what makes community aspect of all this is really exciting for me. So I also have a little idea that's been percolating in my head in the community movement, kind of like pulling together this punk rock spirit. And maybe it's an opportunity to create some sort of an economy that's community-based within AI filmmaking too, that borrows a lot from music. Imagine this, the venue. An evening that's part film screening, part art installation, part playground. Curated short films by independent creators projected in an intimate space, but the experience doesn't end when the lights come up. So we've got a little bit of this, but it's a real extension of this. The experience itself, it's making a whole experience. Remember when you went to the famous Players cinemas, the Cineplex Odeons, and they had an arcade in there, and you spent $30 trying to get a toy out of that goddamn grapple machine, or trying to get a high score on those arcade games before you went in to see Jerry Bruckheimer's latest piece? It's kind of combining that into the same narrative experience. So, curated screening program, indie AI films selected for story, not spectacle, theme, food, and cocktails. Curating the whole experience that's on point within the creative narrative. Matching the night's films and mood, set pieces and installation to explore, sit on, use. If there's props that are cool, you get to carry them around and take Instagram photos and things like that. DJ playing theme match music as you arrive and between films. A VJ running live visual riffs on the screen, remixing the night's imagery. It's like Rocky Horror meets Meow Wolf, right? And meets your local punk venue, or a really cool, beautiful space like here at Multimodal Media Lab. the DJ and the VJ Live layer is really interesting because those two really ground the aesthetic. I play around with these like AI-powered lights to elevate just what's beyond on the screen. I try to get like color palettes that are complementary to what's happening in here, and then it kind of runs the show. But if you actually have humans behind it, that's intentional, it really becomes a really powerful sort of set piece and statement, especially if you're able to curate it inside of the same ecosphere as what's being played. And that's where the community aspect really gets its jam, because everybody brings their different talents and like plays with that universe and brings it all in, and everybody gets to share it. The real kicker, this is one that is a little bit hard, but I think with local compute, it can be really possible. Playing with the IP. So imagine if there's stations where you've got an audience built up already, and there's a handful of terminals that have the very imagery and models that are only exclusively accessible within that venue and in that time. And people can just go and play and remix and spin up new shorts. Like they can prompt it in, if there's a video to video section, you could just, vibe act something, and then the character gets mapped onto that. It's like, it's taking XR and using it in this new sort of playground to really have community engagement within your own IP. And I think that's really powerful, because once you get people to play within your IP, like let's look at fandom, right? That we know that works in people creating their own stories if they happen to have access to the gifts and talent of creating their own traditional films, or having the time to be able to write books within the Star Trek universe or something, right? It's a really powerful modality to create an audience and buy-in. And it doesn't have to be on the big level anymore. We have tools that allow us access to community and crowds like we never have before. And now we have the technology to allow them to play in that same universe one for one if we control the access to it so that it doesn't go haywire. But they can take clips and like, hey, I went to this like experiential thing, like I sat on the couches that were there. I like posed with like, the deer head that was mounted on the wall. And then I spun up like a 10-second like short in the universe. How cool of an experience would that be, right? That sounds like a lot of fun, right? So that's my kind of like sandbox on what I hope to kind of like bring together a lot of worlds that have worked before. And I would love for as many of you that feel as passionate about it to jump on board with this, because I think there's a real vessel that could really work here. And if we keep it in a community aspect, like, there's a lot of nonprofit punk rock clubs that really made movements happen. Like if we even look all the way back to like Ian McKay at Discord, who started a label that was community driven. They gave access to recording gear. They just let who they thought was cool and go with it. And there was this incredible new diaspora of sounds that came out of it, and ethics and community involvement. And it was centered on like, everybody needs to have access. And I think that's a really important part. If we're going to build something, let's build it where everyone has a real equal chance. Does that sound like an amazing opportunity?
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe that can escalate quickly. I really hope it does. And if you feel the same way, let's bring it all together. Let's talk to these voices that are going to present tonight from near and far. We have so many cool things to look at and discuss tonight, so I'm really excited to move forward. Thank you very much, everybody. We're going to go into community announcements right about now. So there was a couple of folks that hit me up earlier that had a few things to present. If you want to come on up and talk about it. Anybody want to announce anything? Yes, sir. Go for it. Hey, Jeff.
Hi. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here and meet you all. I'm Jeffrey Lando. I've been a filmmaker for 30 plus years, and I made an AI movie but it had an AI in it back in 2020 called Lys's Trip. AI hallucinates a lot. She takes LSD, hallucinates a lot. It worked out great. My bread and butter is I'm a post supervisor on a bunch of Hallmark movies and kind of supervise those. And I've been in love with AI since 1989 when I studied it at Carnegie Mellon, and I was going to do that for a career, and then I decided it was going to take too long to get there. I went into film. Anyway, so I built this thing called Proda, which is an aggregator, like a lot of others, has a lot of different AI tools, 150 plus AI tools, but it's oriented towards professional filmmaking in the sense that I'm not hiding any of the controls. There's not just like a screen and a prompt and a couple icons. Like you have a lot of information. DaVinci Resolve plugin that lets you go in and out of DaVinci Resolve. And the reason I'm up here to talk to you is I'm pitching to production companies to hire people like us to make these movies. And I don't think one person is sufficient to make one of these movies. We need teams of people. So Proda has a whole, like you can set up a project and be a supervisor, and people can be artists on the supervisor's kind of budget, and you can send stuff up to a client for approval, this whole kind of pipeline that you need for professional filmmaking, et cetera. So very soon, I think I am going to need, and maybe some of the other people are going to need to hire Proda artists. So I'd like to invite you to come and familiarize yourselves with the platform. You know, if you like it, stay, great. Just, I have 5 people on it right now. I need more. I'm going to need to hire people, I think, coming up soon. So the idea is to have a job board on there, and there'll be like, kind of like if you want to be a gig worker in the film economy, I want to take on a scene and there's references and I want to kind of like finish it for a client, you'll be able to do that in Proda. So I invite you to come check it out. It's pr0ta.com. You can, if you want, whatever, www.pr0ta.com. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. That's amazing. Platforms that are built in our backyard. That is what a big part of community is all about. Thank you for offering that up. Was there someone else before I move on to the one that I totally recall that wants to come up? And, you know, it's not about a platform. It's about like, hey, I got this cool thing and I want to jam with people on it. So anybody have anything sort of murky in the ether they want to talk about? No? Okay. Hey, Bill, are you kicking around? Oh, we got one. Is that someone in the back there? Yeah, come on up, man. Also come up too, Bill. We'll have you up next. What's your name?
Hi guys, my name is Suhas.
Yep, you got it.
Hi guys, my name is Suhas. It's great to see all of you here. I am also building a platform for business owners who have physical products and who are struggling to create content or videos to promote their products. So after working with all small business owners, the main problem was they don't have time to create content. So we created Pocket Director AI. You can go on it right now. It's called pocketdirectorai.com. And take a single photo of your product and it creates the entire campaign along with the model holding the product, and you'll not be able to differentiate whether it's AI image or an actual photo that a studio took. And it also creates ultra-realistic UGC videos as well. I am looking for people who are interested in creating such type of content to join us. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, sir. And I think we've got one of your clips up in the prompt challenge a bit later. Is that right? Amazing. Okay. All right. Come on up, Bill. Bill is repping this lovely establishment here, Multimodal Media Lab, and we're so grateful to be here in its new incarnation. So tell us about what you're up to here.
All right. Thank you, everyone here today, and I hope I can provide a better environment for you guys. This is our new office. We just moved in probably 2 weeks ago, and next week we're gonna do some renovation. Hopefully, like in May, everything will resume normal. Like you guys are gonna enjoy better for this environment. And we created this Multimodal Media Lab. We believe AI, we can get empowered by AI and help solving our problems. But meanwhile, we never believe AI will replace human. We think we need to collaborate with AI, right? So that's the thing. We have to. This is like a computer, internet, TV when they first come, and everyone's kind of like a little bit of panic and think about, whoa, what's going on? Right? So, but now we have to embrace that new change so quickly, because every day I can see now especially in China, everyone just trying to build their open cloud stuff and building their agent, right? So this is things happening, right? If we don't adapt to the new change, it's going to be super hard, right? So in the future, so that's why we're here trying to support the community, and we also build some like interesting tool. We're probably going to release next month, right? And also we want to like offer like a free access to the community members, and hopefully you guys can utilize a certain tool we build and to like enhance your like AI productions or whatever. Like feel free to give us feedback as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. And we've got a little demo of the platform as well coming up here.
In Dreamo, all you need to start is a title and a concept brief. Next, choose the visual style you want for your film. You can let our AI help build the entire project. Based on your concept brief, Dreamo can generate a complete screenplay structured to professional, Hollywood-style standards. From there, you can continue refining the script with our AI writing assistant, expanding scenes, improving dialogue, and shaping the narrative as your story evolves. Another feature we are especially proud of comes after you create the establishing shot. To maintain visual consistency in later video generation, we introduce a Gaussian splatting-based system. It transforms AI-generated 2D scenes into fully navigable 3D environments, or 360-degree panoramas. Within this 3D space, you can add additional 3D assets and models to ensure visual continuity across shots. This means creators gain stable and precise control over the scene. By combining uploaded 3D models with AI generation, you can continue editing and evolving the environment while preserving cinematic consistency.
Thanks, Bill. Luke/Mayumi, we've got a little offering from you tonight that we want to talk about. Do you want to present it? Oh, there's Luke. There he is. Okay.
That sounded mean. I'm trying to alleviate some. Hi, I'm Luke. I am one of the co-founders with Mayumi, who you'll be hearing from later, of Tiny Ghost Studios. And we are currently, so a little bit of background. We were running a game studio. We've been involved in doing games and film and TV and mostly animation focused. And now we pivoted fully in January to doing AI animation, and we are so busy, and definitely resonating with that burnout stuff that you were talking about. So we have put together this animation accelerator in hopes of teaching some people the tools that we are using so that we can hire some people to help with all the work that we're doing. We're really at the edge of really producing studio quality work with AI tools. And it's not really just all AI tools, it's just incorporating AI tools into a traditional, well, not really a traditional workflow anymore. It's a whole paradigm shift. Anyways, happy to talk about that with you guys. We're doing this course. It's a 2-part course, 2 3-hour sessions, starting at the end of the month and then going into April. And there's a week in between where there's some homework and stuff, and a community, a small like student community where you have access to me and Mayumi, and to kind of guide you through the process of creating a short. So that is $650 for the course, and but 25% off for BC+AI members, and and we're looking forward to teaching people, I guess. I don't know how to wrap that up.
Yeah. Well, how about revealing your Oprah moment, sir?
Oh, right. So if everybody wants...
Sounds like a great rap to me.
So I've taped 2 things under the chairs. So check under your chair. If there's something taped under there, we have 2 free courses.
And you remember which chairs they were under, right?
I do. Trishelle, did you get it? Yeah, you got it.
Hey, all right, we got one. And I think there's one. Hey, there. All right, we got
there's
him.
another one. Okay, great.
Woo!
Great. Okay, so come to me or Mayumi afterwards, and we'll get you hooked up with and invited to that course. Congratulations. And that's it, I think, right?
Yeah, you nailed it. Thank you, my friend. The experience that Luke and Mayumi bring is really world class. Please, Mayumi, come up.
Actually, this isn't about me. I just had a thought that I would love to not only celebrate our own wins, but also celebrate our community wins. And I was scrolling LinkedIn, and a community member of ours, Ahmad, who built creative.net, who's down at GDC right now, kicking ass. He won the GDC pitch competition.
Yeah.
So the next time you see him, please congratulate him. That is amazing.
Yeah, that guy has been working so hard for so long, and
2.5 years.
talk about the punk rock spirit. I found out about him because he was just like, he had his laptop out on the floor of SIGGRAPH and was just like flagging people down and like, look at my tool. And then I looked at it and I was like, dude, this is amazing. How do you not have a booth? But he is hustling hard and it's paid off. You know, he's down at GDC. That's absolutely incredible. Thank you for reminding us, Mayumi. That is such an amazing win for all of us, for that platform to get out there. Creative is what it's called. If you're not familiar with it already, look it up, CREADEV. And it is a really robust game engine, spin-up platform. Like, you can create immersible worlds within minutes, and it's your first marker of AAA quality stuff. It is absolutely amazing. The students at Ethos Labs have been playing with it, and talk about the joy of underrepresented voices getting access to tools. It is fever pitch incredible there. So it's so cool how community is working already. Thank you so much for reminding us that, Mayumi. Big hand to Ahmed, please. That is such a massive win. GDC, y'all. That's incredible. Speaking of community, we're up to the ASMR prompt challenge. What an amazing amount of submissions, and the heart, and particularly in a few entries, the spirit of like taking like the rote ASMR and pushing the envelope on what that means so far beyond. I'm looking at you, Suzy. That was that was amazing. So I would love to get a bunch of people up after we play these prompt challenge submissions. So give yourselves a round of applause before we get into it, y'all.
Your VR session begins now. Would you like some sunscreen?
Absolutely. Session complete. What? No!
Sleep, sleep, sleep. Sleep stilly, I'm a sleepy snake. I'm a sneaky snake. A sleepy, sleepy, sneaky snake. Silent soon, softer, slower, sinking. Sleep, sleep, sleep.
Whoa.
What's that?
I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys, Nina just built an app.
Impossible.
Tiny Ghost Studios.
Velsha Oshara.
Sultha Naire. Tessa Volsharem. Volsha Tyredim. Sultha Naire.
Come now, little one. A pretty thing like you should be smiling.
Tonight, a little skincare. All clean.
Please, take this.
Wow. Wowie, folks. That was amazing. Another round of applause for everybody who submitted. Can we get everybody who submitted, who's here tonight, to hop on the stage? I'd love to get a few bits and pieces from you all. Absolutely. Come on down. Alan couldn't be here tonight. Unfortunately, he's got, as his email said, a wee bit of pneumonia. And we wish him extremely well. So Michelle is going to grab a lovely photo of us all for the prompt submissions. Thank you. All right, extra light.
Okay, everybody, eyes here.
Amazing. Thank you. I want to get a few words from folks that haven't really presented so much before. So I'm going to start with you.
Great. Okay. Hi, everyone. I work for Canada's leading authority in 17th to 19th century antiques. So let that just soak in for a little bit. So this is completely foreign to me. I'm not a filmmaker, not a traditional filmmaker at all. So I just find it really amazing that with all the new future tools that we have at our disposal, that we can actually attempt to be a filmmaker. So thanks to everyone for coming and for those who have allowed the space for us to show.
What's your name?
Sorry?
What's your name?
I'm Fatima Travassos.
Hey, great to see you, Fatima.
Yes. Skincare. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right, pass it down. This is a puff and pass scenario, so yeah.
Oh, good, I'm next. My name is Nicole Lister, and I've been working in film for over 25 years. Makes me feel old. And I'm just recently in the last few months, just getting into AI and learning how to do it. And I would love to continue getting better and better. Yeah.
Which one did you do?
Oh, I did the lotion one.
Nice. Thank you, Nicole. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Jen. I did not prepare to speak, but I did the one with the glass spiders.
Oh, it was so good.
I really wish the jelly rain worked, but it didn't really quite work. I kind of had to finagle it a little bit. I am a filmmaker. I went to Emily Carr for film, and I've worked in stunts, I guess, in film for the last maybe 13 to 15 years. So it's been a little while. I'm Nicole's friend. She kind of dragged me into this. She texted me out of nowhere. It's like, oh, do you know about this program? And I'm like, I don't, but I'd love to learn. And now I'm here.
Thanks, Jen. Jen, can you just speak about the finagling that you had to do on that one shot? What did you have to do to get it closer to where you wanted?
So I think as a filmmaker, I approach it more from a filmmaker's perspective. It's a lot of, I planned it out and I use the software that Nicole introduced me to, or not software, it's like a platform called Imagine Art. Mm-hmm. And then I use ChatGPT as a guidance to find the places with AI that I can use for sound generation, because I was like, oh, this is an exercise to learn more about what I can do with AI. So I played with Suno, and then I settled on Stable Audio to generate something that's more sound effects and ASMR. So I use that as a base, and then I use the workflow platform of Imagine Art to create the images, and then from the images I use that to generate the video, and then I compiled everything in Adobe and sound layering and stuff. Yeah.
Great process. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi guys, my name is Suhas, and I work in AI consulting. I run workshops, and this is I created the one where the person rips off the face. Yeah, that's what I did.
Thank you. Subtle. I like it.
Did you look in the mirror to any of that stuff going? How those hands move? Hi, my name is Arno. I invite you to go to animalasr.com. The dogs. Thank you. Not a filmmaker, but there's a filmmaker in me here somewhere, and AI is allowing me to explore that. And I got to say, guys, the prompt challenge is the thing, because when I get back, it allows me to do short form, experimental, test what I can do. So bring it on. I love it. Look forward to it every month.
Amazing. Arno, I remember your submission last month was really wonderful as well. Can you tell us a little bit about your process and the tools that you use? Because it's really beautiful stuff.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, the beauty comes from, I felt like if I res it up after I've produced it by using Topaz, or in that case Topaz, and then down res it again, that helps a lot to make it a little sparkly and feel kind of sharp.
Okay, you're doing the free res trick.
Also, also knowing that they're well trained on animals and people helps, as opposed to the things that I often try and it just doesn't work. So those two things have helped a lot. So thanks.
Know your limit, play within it, always wins. That's awesome.
I'll push it next time, though.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
I'm Luke again, and I did Faye SMR, and I don't know. You saw my one last time was an orc getting toilet paper. So I really like fantasy stuff, but yeah, one of the big things that stood out for me was just if I've done 3D animation for many years, and if I had done that by myself, it would have taken a year, and I did that in 12 hours basically. So it's kind of crazy what you're able to do, and just imagination go free and just kind of like take a weekend to just do something super silly and whatever and just have fun with it. So, yeah.
It really speaks to, there's so many backgrounds that are a little bit adjacent to film or even like entirely out of film and are actually getting like, intention to pixels in its purest way of fashion than we've ever had access to before. And that's really exciting to hear from each and every one of you. So super cool. Michel.
Hi, I'm Michel Leblanc. I'm not from a film background. I was doing coding. I got laid off a while ago, but I've been doing all things AI now for a couple of years, and I've had to just throw my hand at this, and I've been having a blast. I've got about 50 social media little shorts now up on YouTube. A little bit of a. Mine was the one with the glaciers and the lava. That was mine.
Yeah, the one shot. Yeah. That was really cool.
Well, I had a really simple workflow on that one. I used Grok, and I used the formatting was wrong. Like it was too small. It was for shorts. So I had to change the perspective on it and the resolution. So I used Google Colab, and then I got it to generate some cells that can manipulate the outputs.
It's all about workflow. Very cool stuff, sir. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Suzy. I went to my first meet in January. Mine was really weird. So
talk about your process on this one. A few of us saw your post on LinkedIn, and it's like, please, I know you're going to talk a little bit further with Mayumi, but give us the Coles notes right now. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm a bit of a punk rocker. Myself, I recorded with Steve Albini in Chicago. I don't know if you guys know him, but he was
legendary.
He's a legendary. He not recently, but he passed away. It was kind of like, but he still lives on, like his music and energy. So anyway, and then through me too. And so I have a punk attitude when it comes to AI. And so I got the project, and I started like, okay, I'm going to make this clip, and I'm going to create like, characters and that sort of thing, and create an environment. And then I started using, I think it was OpenAI, but then I got really mad at it. And I was like, no, why are you telling me what to do? And why are you dictating my creativity? And I started getting punk rock. So I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to create my own app. And so I started creating a own web map on, and so I could go on, but I ended up realizing that, no, actually, and I've always wanted to be an architect, but that I was starting to get into world building. And I was looking at Vancouver, City of Vancouver's open API, and trying to integrate that into AI and into my projects, because I love Vancouver. So anyway, what you saw was like just the first iteration of what I was trying to create. So it was a mess, but I really appreciate that I got to debut it here. And so, yeah, that's me. Yeah, thank you.
That's really cool. We'll hear a bit more about the granular details of your project in a bit. It's awesome. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is David. I made the one where this Ilya causes fire because he flips over his candle and stuff. And I was like, before I walked into this room, I thought I was being funny and take the theme of ASMR a bit far. And then I started seeing you guys' work. I would be like, I'm the most normal one. So it was, oh, you guys did a great job. Like, you guys are literally making episodes of like, I don't know, it's not ASMR, it's something else. So I don't have tons of experience in AI filmmaking, but I did shot films and made stuff back in school. So for this one, a lot of stuff like the loading screen were actually added in the post because I have to cover things up. I had this issue where stuff just pops out, right? And I show this loading screen to cover things. And that turns out to be sort of like a punchline. It adds a little bit of humor to it. So I kept it. And then the base 44 ads as well. For some reason, I don't know what my YouTube algorithm thinks who I am, but like the only two kind of ads I see nowadays is either base 44 or that down platinum dishwasher detergent thing. with the two ducks. I know some of you knows what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
I don't have YouTube Premium, so I have to see that like every single time. And that base 44 ads. So yeah, that's about it. The model I used, it was ByteDance Seedance 2.0. It was pretty fun because for restriction, due to some restrictions here, it's only available in China mainland. So I had to pull out my phone from China. I have to use my Chinese phone number to get it work. It took a lot of unnecessary effort. I didn't really spend all the time prompting and like actual mimicking. It was the registering part that took me some time.
That's amazing. For those of you that don't know the story of what went down with Seedance 2, it was highly touted to have been released, I think it was February 24th, if I'm not mistaken, and it didn't happen because there were a whole bunch of creators that got early access, mostly from China mainland and some North American and European early access folks. They really took advantage of extremely loose IP guardrails. And generated that infamous clip now where you see Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise duking it out. That was Seedance 2, and Hollywood went woof. Lawsuit city. So a little bird from Seedance tells me it's at least highly delayed in most of the world. It's an evolving kind of thing. So, those of us who get to play with it right now, it's small towns that are going to have access to it right now. It's really cool that you got a chance to muck around with it. Yeah.
It's very funny as well, because when I was in China in my high school before I came aboard, I was using Facebook, I was using Instagram, I was using foreign softwares. Now I'm here, I'm starting using I guess I'm just not with the trend, I guess.
Grass is always greener, right? Yeah. On your algorithm note, I always say that it's a level of new intimacy to see someone's YouTube algorithm, because, oh my God. Thank you so much, folks. That was amazing stuff. I can't wait to post your work so that everyone else online can see it. I also have to catch up on last month's because I've been sick and I'm a little bit behind. So you're going to see a whole flood of things come out over the next few weeks. Thank you so much, folks. Amazing work. Thank you for taking that community spirit so hard.
What's the next challenge?
The next challenge.
Oh yeah, what is the next challenge? Do we have a new challenge yet?
I'll think of something for the end of the night.
Did we mention it's March and it's the busiest month of all of our careers? Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Hey, okay, let's take this community spirit here. Who wants to suggest prompt challenges for next month's screening? Who's got some ideas?
So at the beginning, you mentioned that you want to build something in a studio, like with the venue.
Yeah.
So maybe just imagining venue and making something around that.
Oh, pre-visualization. Very nice, sir. Yeah. Yeah, punk rock chat. Okay. All right. I'm super down for that. What's that? Burnout. Been there, done that? I like it, though. Yeah. Anybody else who's, yeah. Dialogue.
You know, we should put all of these down.
Yeah. Well, we'll kind of get things on the microphone, but yeah, let's write them down. Telenovelas. John Mutter may have a lead on that. His are incredible. Anybody else? We got a lot of amazing ideas here. We might be like good to. Oh, hey, Danny, how you doing? Yeah. Getting really digging into the style. Michael's got a real eye for period styles that I really admire quite a bit in his work. So yeah, that'd be really cool. Absolutely. And I saw one more. Yes, sir. Appetite. Yeah. Ooh, that's okay. What's your name? Gregory. Okay, Gregory coming in with the heat there. That's amazing. Yeah.
What about Easter?
Easter, yeah, that's coming up. It's a little denominational, but that's certainly one thing we could look at for sure. Zombies. Easter and zombies. It's like peanut butter and jam. Yeah. Maybe some hot crust buns while we're at it. Yeah. Okay. Hey, yo, with the full circle, Richard. That's okay. What's that? Cool. Dreams. Okay. Maybe we should put up a poll, Mayumi. What do you think? Yeah? Let's do a poll. Okay, Mayumi will send out a poll. Okay, I feel like a parrot right now. Yeah. Cool. Speaking of Mayumi feeding me things, not to do with appetite, I would love for you to introduce the amazing international artist that you've gotten to speak to right about now. So.
Yeah. Oh, man. I've been lucky enough to meet and speak with a wonderful woman by the name of Diane Laidlaw. She's known online on YouTube as Afro Futcha, Futcha, and she is doing some amazing work. It's like music video, funky, jazzy, imagery, dream world stuff. It's really, really cool. And we got to talking. She was nice enough to let me interview her. It was supposed to be 20 minutes, and we talked for about an hour and a half. So I had to shove everything into 20 minutes, and I tried to grab the best portions of our conversation. And a lot of it was around diversity and accessibility and the hunger of the audience for niche content. And she had some really great insights to share with us. And unfortunately, she couldn't be here in person, because she lives in the UK. So this is her way of showing up here. Also, I've noticed that there's a bunch of people over here. There are seats over here if you would like to sit down and rest your legs.
Yeah, we've got a little horseshoe situation. There's actually an L-shaped couch over here if you haven't noticed.
It's really cozy.
It's very lovely. Yeah. So settle in. We got 20 minutes of amazing deep dive discussion between. Yeah.
Yeah, so there is some clips in here that are from an upcoming short that's going to be doing the festival circuit from Diane. So we just respectfully ask everyone to. It just gets Diane in a little bit of problem if stuff ends up online. So please do not film anything. Don't take any pictures. Just out of respect for her sharing this early access to some of the clips from her short. So thank you very much.
All of my pieces have been me kind of regurgitating that feeling of something needs to come out. I need to say this. I need to express this. This is how I'm feeling. And I think my work has resonated with a lot of people because that's what they recognize in my work. It's not just, random fight scenes and, a medieval warrior walking through the forest. It's not that. And this is no shade to those people who do those stories at all. But I think I come from it from a very humanistic point of view that people just, this is different. And it's less, I think when people watch my stuff, it's less about whether it was made with AI and more about how they resonated with it. And that means a lot to me because I'm trying to get shit out. So if you can resonate and understand what I'm saying, that's perfect, really. It's perfect. So from 2008, I keep saying 2028, it feels so long ago, but it is long ago. In 2008, I started working for myself, and any little job that I could find, I would do it. So, but it had to be something which I loved. So I was always doing something creative. I did a bit of radio work, and then I was a DJ. And the radio station said, hey, do you want to help manage the other people that come on the radio station and their shows? And I was like, perfect. And then I ended up getting pregnant by one of the guys who was there, who ended up being my partner. And we had a baby together. And then when my son was born, I was like, well, I don't want my son going to nursery. I want to homeschool him. But I can't obviously do radio anymore because I'm breastfeeding and whatnot. So I ended up teaching myself web design, and I did that for 15 years, and I was very successful at it. So I think that at times when people's jobs are being taken, it really makes you think. Every redundancy, every economic crisis that has happened has spurred more entrepreneurs, spurred more CEOs, spurred more of these people because we become much more creative when under pressure. And if at this point you have nothing, if you've lost your job, you have nothing. So why not start from a place of having nothing and build up from there? Do you know what I mean? And I think that where technology may take away some jobs, I think it will start creating new jobs as well. And it's those pockets that people who have got that frame of mind the frame of mind of, I need to be more self-sufficient, or if you're a person who is, I think you and Isabel was talking about this the other day, the generalist. If you've got general skills, you are going to be way more needed now than before. So I'm not scared about those moments because I feel like there's going to be a whole bunch of new businesses that will come arise. That software developer who's now had to leave this particular company will then start to make the piece of software that he always wanted to make. That person who was an actress who couldn't get the job can now take a picture of herself and put herself in any film that she wants to. That woman who wrote the song, who couldn't get anybody to help her produce it, can now go on Suno. So I feel like even though jobs may be taken, it may be left. What is left is the question of, well, what do you want to do? Rather than, you know what I mean? What do you find a passion in? What wakes you up? Because this thing of working for someone else and making them rich they will get rid of you in a heartbeat. And we've been saying this for years. We've got memes about it all over the place. If you show up sick, the boss is just going to replace you with someone else the next day. So if that's the case, be your own boss and find a job, create a job. I had no idea about web design. I taught myself while I sat at a computer. My son sat here I had two computers. So I had one computer I was learning web design and another computer where my son sat next to me and he was learning his ABCs. So I think self-sufficiency and what is it that you want to do will be more open. It will level those playing fields for everybody now to do something. And maybe our life isn't to work. I'm lucky enough I'm very I don't know many people like this, but I'm very lucky to be able to say that for the past 16 years now, I've literally been doing what I want and getting paid for it. And that is something I would want for everybody, to be able to wake up when you want, do the work you want, and be happy in the work that you do. And if at any point you feel like, oh, I need to change it, you have that ability to switch to the next thing. I remember I was speaking at a panel it was Bionic Awards in London. I think it was in December that I went, and as we were sitting down, they were asking questions at the end of it, like the audience was asking questions, and somebody was saying, why is it that every time I look at AI stuff, it's just like action and people trying to copy Star Wars and copy this and copy that? And I basically said, listen, let them get it out of their system, because that's all it is. It's just people watching these things, like they love all of that stuff. They need to get that story out. And I think the more that they get that story out is the more that they will unearth the other stories that we also want to actually see and want to. But you need to just get that little bit out first. And then once you get that out, then we can focus on the other stuff, you know? So it's like it pollutes my feeds all the time. And I think maybe that's another reason why, because I don't think my work is that extraordinary, but I think the reason why my work stands out is because it's not that. It's not the action, it's not the Marvel, it's not any of that. It's real, like, human emotion stuff, whether it's realistic or animation. It's got some narration in it, or it could be quiet as in, you know, there's no dialogue whatsoever, and people can relate to that. People want to see that. And I think, like I said, I just think that there's a lot of surface level stories that we're seeing, but I think those need, and you know, maybe some of my stuff is surface level because I have told people, listen, I was experimenting last year. This year I would love to do more serious work in regards to horror. Horror is my one of my favorite genres. So I had to skim the cream off the top, you know, but then when I get to the actual drink, I think that's when more of my stories will start coming out, and I feel like that will be the same for everybody else. They just, you know, need to get that one last Superman frame out of their system, and then, you know.
Do it.
The other thing, I've judged a couple of AI festivals recently. Actually, I'm never going to do that again. Well, I'm always going to judge festivals, but not like so many in such a short period of time. That was stressful. I probably watched about 200 movies. Yeah, but it's been very interesting, to say the least, because you get to see the talent which is out there, and you get to also see the stories that they're trying to tell. But you also get to see how people try to keep, like, there's some films that you can watch. Well, there's some stuff that you can watch and you're not going to be grabbed, or you're going to be time watching, like, when is this going to finish? Because I still don't get what's going on here or whatever. So I think keeping people engaged is a skill set outside of hijacking your brain. I think that because I don't think about, when I'm writing my stories or I'm animating my stories, I'm not thinking about your brainstem while I'm doing it. I'm thinking about how I've seen other people done like openings to their films, or I'm thinking about how I want the person to feel while they're watching the film. Like, I want to take you on a journey, but I don't want the journey to be so obvious in the beginning of what's going on. So I'm going to tease a couple of things here and there. And that teasing aspect really came from the gaming world, where you would play a game and they'll have these little things called Easter eggs, which are like little clues of things that they'll place. So for me, I kind of look at it like that. Like, I want you to be able to watch something that I've made, and you've watched it once and you get the general idea about what's going on, but then you watch it again and then something else pops up at you because I placed an Easter egg in there that's, oh, okay, well, maybe she was talking about this. Oh, okay, well, maybe she was talking about this or whatever. So some of my works I've kind of done that in. But I think and this is why story is so important, because what keeps you engaged is the story. It's not the graphics, it's not necessarily the fighting scene, it's not even really the dialogue. It's where that story is going. And I think there's a lot of great, amazing people out there that know how to use the tech, but we are still waiting on the same amount of people who are magnificent at storytelling. And for me, someone who's great at storytelling is someone who I can watch their film and I don't even know that 10 minutes has just gone past. Or I don't know, do you know what I mean? I wasn't clock watching. With me and my ADHD, I'm clock watching all the time. So if I'm watching your stuff, and I've like, wow, 15 minutes has gone past, or even just 3 minutes has gone past, and I didn't know, or I'm yearning for more, I know that person has got great storytelling ability. So yeah, I'm always championing step away from the computer and think about story first. And the tech and the gadgets and the tools, they're fantastic. Like, but don't focus all your time on them. Focus on the story, because you can have great graphics and a shit story and no one's going to watch it. No one's going to watch that. So they'll say, oh, that looks good, and then move on to the next. But you haven't left an impact. You haven't made them walk away and feel something or think something or analyze something. So, yeah. Absolutely. And again, I was literally like, today I was writing a piece about that too. Girl, what the hell? That's so funny, because I was expressing the same, and I've noticed this on Midjourney days, from way back in the day when I used to play around with Midjourney, and I would ask for a specific demographic, and I would ask for a Black woman, for instance, and I'm very much into like the 1970s era, so it would be like the Black exploitation kind of era. And they would give me a woman who's got like this absolutely perfect afro, but then her features wouldn't necessarily be of a quote unquote typical African American woman. There'll be times where I would create a piece of art and I'll say, make her skin a little bit lighter, and then all of a sudden she's gone from an African woman to a Hispanic woman. Gosh, the amount of times I've uploaded my photo, and maybe because I have a naturally slim nose, that every time I would upload my photo into Midjourney and I'll try to get it to use me, it would put me as a Hispanic woman every single time. I just stopped using it for that particular purpose. But then I would also notice that if I would say things like an Indian woman walking down the street, it would give me a poor Indian woman walking down the street. And then I recently, well, about a year ago, I found that Midjourney was multilingual. So I took the same prompt, Indian woman walking down the street, and I translated it into Bengali, and I used the translation in Midjourney, and it gave me a way better image of an Indian. It gave me a realistic image of, you see what I'm saying? So then I started playing around, and I'm like, okay, well, let me use the language that they use in Nigeria. Let me use the language that they use in Thailand. And translate that and see what happens. And it would give you a way more realistic image for that particular demographic or region. So what I was seeing in real life is that when I'm using English words to ask for a particular look, a particular demographic, it would give me the Western version of how they would see that particular person. But then when you use original native language, it would give you the native, the native. It was almost like if somebody said to me, you know, how's London? And I'll say, okay, London's cool. You know, we have Buckingham Palace and we have this, that, and the third and whatever. It's a very generic way of me talking about London. But then if my friend says, hey, when did you go to Hackney? How was Hackney? I was like, oh, it's all right. But there was this chip shop around the corner that had, I can get more into detail. And I think that's maybe where the language model kind of sits, where it's like, oh, you're coming from here. Let me give you the unearthed version. Like, let me give you the real version. When I'm speaking English, it's now trying to be nice and dainty and give me the Indian woman with the perfect sari. And it's like, oh, no. Yeah, they're getting the tourist version. They're getting the tourist guide version of your culture, which is interesting because I now when you're talking about it, I can remember when DeepSeek came out. In the early days of DeepSeek, what I really, really applauded it for was its sensitivity to all of that. So I was able to put in or unsensitivity to all of that, shall I say. Whereas if I wanted to talk about a particular culture, it wasn't going to give me the tourist version. It was going to give me a very, like, in your face, no, I've studied this culture, I'm part of this culture type of thing, and not just the, well, they kind of do this and they kind of do that. It's like, well, who's they? So I feel that it's interesting, but the Chinese models to me seem a little bit more open when it comes to other people's culture and possibly how you speak about them. When it comes to the imagery, it's still getting there. But in terms of like DeepSeek as a model, I found it very good for cultural awareness, for sure. Some of the others, it's just, I'm not sure. I'm still fighting with it, exactly. And it was one of the reasons why I wanted to do Quiet Please, was because that was a very dear story to me with my son, who's neurodivergent, who back in the day would have a lot of issues with sound in general. And when I was thinking about the story and I was telling the story to someone, she was like, you need to work on that story, because she saw how my face and my body kind of lit up as I'm explaining, hey, it's about this kid who's got like issues with noise. And then he sees this guy who's sitting on a bench and he's wearing headphones. And she was like, you need to write that story. You need to write it. So I wrote the story. There was like no dialogue in the story whatsoever, but it's really personal to me, and it's really personal to a lot of people who themselves may suffer from that, or who have got children who suffer from that as well. And I think those are the type of stories that I feel like we need to see more of, you know, stories that we all have those stories as well. You know, we all have individual stories about little things that goes on in our lives that if we were to make it into a film, someone will sit there and be like, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. And I think with the neurodivergent thing, what I've noticed is how healing it is when people get to see themselves in other people who are talking about their neurodivergency. There's a sense of belonging, there's a sense of understanding, there's a sense of grace that you can now give yourself instead of this shame that you may have been carrying. So I feel like these stories, when we hear more of them, and we can, like, I'm telling the story from the point of view of a Black boy who's going through this. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's also key, because it's representative of these young boys who may be autistic or may have autism, that have got stories, and no one writes about stories of Black boys with neurodivergency. No one does it. So, you know, it's an avenue for me to express that because I've got the tools, and it's an avenue for me to express that because I have the experience as well, a little bit. So, yeah.
What a special collection of observations and experiences. Mayumi, please come up. That was amazing. Thank you for bringing her into our world here. You know, a large part of what I know to be what makes community so special is it's really easy to kind of like look at the hyper-local experience of community because that's within your reach, right? But community really grows when we get to intersect and interconnect with broader communities from near and far. So speak to us about like how you got introduced to Diana and, you know, the importance of like the reach of your community outside of your own backyard.
That's like a multi-layered question there, Kevin. Yeah. So the easy answer is I was introduced to Diane through a company that we're working with to develop our own IP, and she is one of the other creators on there. And the last few clips there is Quiet Please. So that is going to be released this summer. I believe they're talking about June or July, which is why we asked for no videos because it's on under wraps right now. Mm-hmm. And in what I do, I'm always kind of looking for people who have stories, who want to get them out, who come from underserved communities. And the reason why it's important to me is, twofold. One is just from a very practical standpoint, because my background is actually in operational finance. And I saw firsthand over and over and over again why or how women and gender nonconforming people were passed over for promotions, were passed over for jobs, were not getting credit for their work, were, really doing the work and not getting lauded for it. And that really pissed me off. And
I'm pissed off with you. That's insane. Yeah.
It really, really made me angry. And I was the one who was asking questions because I'm that person in the room. And I was getting the answer, well, because this is the way it's done. And that just wasn't good enough for me. So I'm always looking for who those people are and where those stories are coming from. And if there is a way that I can help increase their reach in some way, if I can leverage what I have, whatever it is, in whatever small capacity that I can, to help them reach new people. And the other thing is, I really believe that we're coming to the end of this one-size-fits-all entertainment era. I don't need another Marvel movie. I don't. And I love Star Wars, but I don't need more Star Wars. So
unless it's Andor.
Andor is so good.
It's so good.
Andor is so
more
good.
Andor, less Star Wars. Yeah.
But that's just what I mean, right? Andor is wonderful because it's heartwarming and it's humanizing, yes. And it really touches you on an emotional level. And I think the story of the average person really touches us on an emotional level. And we need more of those stories that we can relate to come out into the world. And that's why I do this.
That is such a perfect segue because I wanted to talk to you about your prompt challenge submission. What a beautiful, touching piece! You took the marker of using sound to tell story in the lessons that we learned last month, and dovetailed into this challenge, and really brought that into emotional affect. It was so much stronger because of the decisions that you made in sound that made the visuals even more powerful. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that process about getting in touch with, something obviously very personal, mm-hmm. and, digging into your humanity and finding that balance between honoring and respecting yourself and creating something really beautiful and passionate.
Yeah. I mean, okay, even though my life, my career up to now has been really around numbers and finance, I didn't start off that way. Like, I wanted to be an animator when I was younger. I've always been little. But it just wasn't a career choice that was available to me at the time.
But tall in spirit, if I may say.
My mother is 4'10", and she has big energy. Yeah, and so, like, my background was in drawing and painting and writing poetry and writing stories, and that's where, you know, my childhood and my teens and into my early 20s, that's where I lived. And so I've always had that inside me, and I've realized through these tools now that we have that I can't really do 15 seconds of just something. Like, there's always got to be a story behind it. And the avenue has really become cathartic for me. I mean, almost better than therapy, really. And that was based on my own experience. So I had a friend that I lost.
I'm sorry.
And I didn't realize I was carrying that around with me.
What an absolutely stunning way to honor your friend. And thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
This is what it's all about. You're going to get me teary, girl.
And really, so I think I started thinking about him because he was a phenomenal artist. And he was also a big tech geek. And I look at all of these tools and I'm like, oh my God, he would have loved this so much if he'd been around a little bit longer.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Wow. That's power, right? Like, do you feel that? That's amazing. Thank you for embarking on that, sharing that. You know, this is really powerful and intimate stuff. And this is what makes this a form. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now that I've made you cry, we're going to shift gears and have you speak about this storytelling vessel even further with your fireside chat. So,
yes.
Take it away.
Well, I'd like to invite Suzy up here.
Come on up, Suzy.
Come on up, Suzy. Sorry to put you on the spot. I really loved what you did, and I loved where you took it. And I think what we do here is about pushing the boundaries. And I would love to hear a little bit about how you got from I'm going to do an ASMR video to I'm going to build a web platform for ASMR /Sims/ all of those things. Yeah. Like, where did you start and how did you get there?
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you for asking. Yeah, so it was Saturday night, and I think the deadline was Tuesday or Monday. No, it was Tuesday at 6 p.m. And so I made it a kind of a hackathon by accident. And I love those kind of challenges where you have to create something in a short period of time, because I feel like deadlines are like the mother of invention. Like, you just push to create something. And so I started out, and I'm honestly, I was a musician, and then I've had a career in technology. And it's like I didn't have any training in IT or technology. I just got my way in as soon as my band imploded. and I lost my job at HMV. And so but anyway.
I miss HMV.
I loved working there. It was the best. I worked there for 5 years. It was just, it's a beautiful thing. But yeah, so it's funny because I've always kind of thought of myself as kind of an architect, but that didn't have enough education, and I didn't really have the permission to be one. And so what I'm realizing, especially through you guys, is that actually I've been an architect this whole time. And And while I was starting to build the film, and I'm honestly like not that experienced, obviously, with AI film. I just started getting into it with you guys in January. So I started using OpenAI, and I was like, okay, I want to create this kind of esoteric kind of ASMR video, but I kind of want to use it around like geography, but also like really esoteric and really like not conforming to objects at all in a way. And so I was trying to prompt, and then OpenAI was getting a little bit confused with me and just started generating things that I just thought were weird. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not probably prompting it right, but I don't know if this is the direction I want to go. And then I kind of felt weird when I'm just like entering into these prompts into OpenAI. It's like, that's not the experience I want for filmmaking. And I know there's other platforms that everyone's using right now, but I don't feel that they're representative enough of me as a creator. And it's like, I didn't really want to be guided in a way that I didn't want it to begin with. I don't know how to say, but I wanted it more organic. So yeah, this is a long answer, but I have this website, and all I do is just push creative weird things on it. And so I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll build my own platform for ASMR, so I have a little bit more control. But then I didn't realize what I was getting into. And but it started coming together. But so I started realizing, I need an asset library, and I started creating assets. And then I realized, I'm really, really passionate about Vancouver. Let's make it like a Gastown scene and a Vancouver scene. And so I started doing that. But yeah, it's just I just realized that, okay, wait a minute. Now I can architect something even bigger. So I kept going down a rabbit hole, and then I realized that, it's almost 6 p.m. So then I just submitted like just some weird iteration of from my incomplete project. But yeah.
So for those of you, Suzy sent in this clip, and she was like, "I'm sorry, it's so weird." Yeah. But we love weird here. I'm really curious to know, what are you gonna do with it? Like, are you gonna do some weird, funky musical creations? Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, definitely. So right now, I think for audio, I just have Foley right now, and the Foley is it's awful garbled sounds right now. But yeah, no, I definitely want to synthesize more, and I definitely want to layer things more. And I want to kind of make my own sounds, but with the help of AI. So I don't want to go to 11 Labs, even though I know it's like phenomenal, and I know Suno's phenomenal, and so I'm not dissing that at all. But it's like, no, I want to create my own thing. And so yeah, that's definitely what I'm going to do. And if I do it, it's like, it's not for money. It's like going to be open source or whatever. And just going to be available to everyone. But that wasn't the whole goal. It's just that I just want to have my own like organic stuff. Yeah.
I love that so much. I'm a total anarchist. Like I love just this idea of not waiting for permission to do anything. So while you're like bucking that and letting go of that, like, do you feel at all like this has released you from waiting for that permission? And like, are you going to create, like, are you going to go bigger, like beyond even just this tool? Like, has it let you think about like, what else do I want to create?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, at work, we had a hackathon, and I came in. It was supposed to be an all engineering team. I work on the IT team. And so I was like, no, I tried to get my IT team people to join me. It's like, let's build something that hasn't been done. Let's be innovative. Let's create. And they're like, no, we're not gonna. We're just gonna do our stuff. And it's like, okay, but I'm gonna try. And so then, I tried to build something actually that would be really, really good for my company. And it's like an autonomous kind of architecture where we're proactive on issues that come up, and in a really informal conversational way, a bot approaches a staff member in Slack and says, hey, I've noticed that this is like, going on. Am I right or wrong? And then they have a way to interact with it. And if it's right, you'll push some scripts that will help them go along. So that was kind of cool. That's really, and then my company really liked it. They're all like, wow, Suzy. And then it's like, yeah. And I think this is inspired by you guys because, I'm starting to think that anything is really possible, that the things that I felt, and when you're talking about, I've had people in the same roles as me who get paid more, and it gets annoying sometimes. And so sometimes I do feel limited in that sense. And it's like, no, it's time to break those kind of barriers. And yeah, and I think the time is now kind of thing. And I think the time is now for like all of us. It's like, no, we don't really have to conform to what people expect us to do or want us to do. It's like, no, this is our life. So why don't we try to like make our own path and just carve it out? And it's scary. It is really scary. You don't really know what you're doing at all. But yeah, so I mean, I have my career right now, but I've always wanted to be an architect. So it's like, okay, I think I'm going back to that, whatever form that is. So yeah, who knows where it'll take me. But yeah, thank you guys very much, because it's all been such an inspirational experience being here and seeing all the creative stuff that you guys are doing is just like, it's very, very inspiring. So yeah, much respect.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mamie.
And we should definitely not do the should do's if it doesn't serve us. I'm a big fan of just like analyzing things and saying why. And I love that you push the boundaries on it. Like I want to see more of that. I hope that with our next challenge that we can have more of that in the room.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks.
Thank you both. Oh my goodness.
Are we going to stay?
What's that? Oh, taking a break. Thank you so much. Thank you. There we go. House cleaning. There we go. That's the bulk of what we got, folks. I hope you soaked in the experience of we really in a moment where boundaries are eroding by the second to get to express what you want. And we're getting people in the same room and doing incredible, really cool, powerful, expressive, and obviously healing things together. So I hope in the remaining time that we have here, and as you take about your discourse of your days, please connect with everyone on LinkedIn as well, and let's keep this spirit moving. The tools are going to change every day, but our hearts will be grounded in the sameness that we were born into and move through in all of that. So let's make sure that we use these tools for good together. Does that sound good, y'all?
Yes!
Yeah. Misha with the powerful yes. Love it. All right. So I mentioned before, we're part of the BC+AI ecosystem. We hold events also at the McMillan Space Center in Kits, near Kits Beach. And the next one is coming up March 25th, real darn soon. There's a lot of us that are at the Karen Howe talk tonight with Naomi Klein, which is also an incredibly important conversation happening at the same time. So thank you for spending your time here when there is heavyweights also in town, and also not being able to afford going to South by Southwest like a bunch of us are. So we see you and appreciate you. March 25th, same kind of Luma channel that we've got for the film meetups. If you want to see cross-disciplinary and ethical and human-centric action, it's really happening there as well in all of acuities and abilities. It's a really amazing fertile ground, and so many of us here would not be where we are without that community right now. It's really powerful. We hope you join us. If you are a BC+AI ecosystem member, you get to come to these events for free, and you also have a significant discount at the main events as well. So we have started charging this month after having the first couple free, and some of you probably floated through for free as well. As we were figuring out the pay scale on that, we wanted to take those funds and make these as big and as bad and as serving the community as possible. And capitalism be capitalisming, and we need funds to do that. So either way, if you want to just hop in when you can and pay the cover, or join the BC+AI ecosystem and join a really broad community that's having real change right now. There's a bunch of us about to go over to Banff to talk to Evan Solomon in a couple of days. Now, mixed a bunch of other folks in the AI ecosphere across Canada, but we're getting a seat at the real tables right now. So it's really, really, really exciting to get to be plugged into here, and I hope you all join us. So that's it for this month, folks. The next one is April 9th, second Thursday of every month. Please keep connected with us. If you want to join our group chat on WhatsApp, It's a very fertile ground as well for a lot of discussion, new tools. How do you do this? We're also slowly getting our Discord server together as well, so you can stay plugged in at any hours of the day that your brain is just going crazy, and we'd love to engage in you on that. There's our Luma code. That's the evergreen for the next events. And yeah, thank you so much for coming around, y'all. Talk amongst yourselves. Let's bring this community to a whole other level. Thank you.